Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I personally welcome you all to the sixth session of ITBPO workshop series. And today is our sixth day, and I don't think that we have to remind all our ground rules today. And the, the, the whole audience, I'm sure that quite familiar with what we have been doing it. And just a quick reminder that we will have our core sessions most probably about 1.5 hours time. And within that core session, we are not giving anybody to use this chat boxes, both in Zoom platform as well as in this YouTube live streaming, where we have the live streaming in parallel for your information. And if you need to access this YouTube live streaming, you have to subscribe the YouTube channel. And this is quite helpful for those who couldn't connect right now in timely connections. At the same time, if you have any issue with your power connectivity or the signal failures, if you have any disconnections, you can refer through our YouTube channels. And anybody needs to have their attendance to be marked, which sometimes you couldn't due to power failures or signal failures, where we recommend you to have minimum of 3 screenshots to be uploaded with the Google form we shared on following day, technically by tomorrow. And today we have a Google form as well as attendance to be marked, and it could be displayed through these chat boxes in Zoom as well as in the YouTube live streaming. The chat boxes could be just after the main session. සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් සියලු දෙනාටම. අද අපගේ 6 වෙනි දිනය අපි කතා කරන ITBPU workshop series එකේ මම හිතන්නේ නැවතත් අපි මතක් කර දිය යුතු නැහැ. මම හිතනවා අපේ ප්‍රධාන අපි කියන ground rules ප්‍රධාන කාරණා කීපයක් අපි තියෙනවා. අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම power failure හරි මොනවා signal failure වුණොත් ඔබට අපි අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා YouTube එකෙන් මේක නරඹලා ඔබේ attendance mark කරන්න. එහිදී අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා අඩුම වශයෙන් screenshots 3ක්වත් පැය භාගයක interval වලින් ඒක අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්නත් අපි නැවත Google form එකක් ලබා දෙනවා ඔබට. ඒක බොහෝ දුරට සිදු වෙන හෙට දිනේ. අද දිනේ ඔබ attendance mark කරන්න, ඒ කියන්නේ දේශනයේ අතරතුර attendance mark කරන්න අපි උඟ දුරට දේශනයේ අවසානයේ හෝ අවසන් භාගයේ වෙන විට අපි attendance mark කිරීම සඳහා Google form එකක් ලබා දෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව ඔබට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමක් තිබෙනවා නම් අපි අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙන ප්‍රධාන දේශනයේ අවසානයේ පමණයි. එහිදී ඔබට පුළුවන් එකක් chat box එක හරහා ප්‍රශ්න ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිත් සමග සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන WhatsApp group වල තියෙන admin ට ඔබේ ප්‍රශ්න ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. නොයසේ නම් ඔබට කරන්න පුළුවන් hand raise option එක ප්‍රදානවා. මම හිතන්නේ Zoom වල hand raise option එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහිදී අපි අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දෙනවා ප්‍රශ්න ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. Those who have any questions to be raised and clarified, what we recommend you to put your hand raised through Zoom platform. I'm sure all are familiar with how to do your hand raising. And raise your hand, then we will give you the options. Right now, Sanjay has raised his hand. I'm sure you can see it. And we give you the opportunities to ask your questions on first in, first serve basis. So that's how the whole session goes on. Without spending much of a time and further ado, I would like to invite today's our presenter. And today our main subject is basically into non-software domains, basically non-software developments, which is mainly into introduction to IT infrastructure services. And Engineer Kamal is a resource person today, and he will share lots of his experience and especially how to groom yourself to face those challenges, particularly in international business context. And he will tell us, and definitely he will share a lot of experience by his own experience, as well as he has seen many young engineers who has excelled their career in international arena. Engineer Kamal Pemaratne is a project manager currently working for Divisional Network Services, Toronto Water, City of Toronto in Canada. And he's got over 16 years of industry experience, not only in Sri Lanka, and especially in international context, which is in overseas experience. He is into critical infrastructure, networking, and security areas, which is his specialization. And I was fortunate enough to study with him back in University of Peradeniya. He's a graduate from University of Peradeniya from computer engineering. And apart from those basic qualifications, he's into a lot of certifications, especially in Cisco certifications, CCNP and CCDP. That's how his profile says. But to be frank with you, this gentleman, back in university, I could remember, if I'm going down through my memory lane, he's one of the most active university member in our university, and he's particularly into Explorers Club and I believe that the experience he got through interacting with people have definitely helped him to easily have his PRs and other networking relationships. I'm not referring to this computer networking, but the networking, having network with the people might have definitely helped him to excel his career. Without much further ado, I would like to invite today's presenter, Engineer Kamal. It's over to you. The screen is yours, Engineer Kamal.
Right. Thank you very much, Engineer Nalin, and the Magnus Academy for giving me this opportunity. It's like it's as a person who are living outside the country, it's kind of feel good moment for having this kind of opportunity, because most of the people who are living outside the country, especially in these situations, they want to give something back to the country. So not everyone get the opportunity, this kind of opportunity, that sharing our experiences or whatever the knowledge which we get from the outside the country. So again, it's a good opportunity, and it's honor to be in this the presentation to share my experiences and the knowledge. So thank you very much for that. Before going into the presentation, I would like to speak few words about what I'm going to present today. It's not the introduction to my presentation, but this topic, I know there are lots of good resources in Sri Lanka who may be able to elaborate these fields in more better ways. But I think Engineer Nalin and Magnus Academy's expectation was to, okay, how do we see those things from the international perspective, or how do we see the same things when the people are outside the country or working with some large organizations. So the way I'm going to discuss this topic may not be the only way. It's, I would say, it's how I see it. And so while we are going with the presentation, I will try to make it more simple, considering the audience which we have in this. I would say it's a mixed audience. Yeah, so without going into much detail, I would go into my presentation. Let me share it. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, very well.
Right. Thanks, Sanjay. Thank you. Okay, and I will directly go into the topic which I'm going to talk today. It's about the introduction to IT infrastructure services. So I think most of the people who are in this field have experienced this some kind of situation where when we say that, okay, I'm in an IT industry, most of the people know it as software engineering or coding. But sometimes I might have to say, okay, no, I'm not doing any software engineering. Yeah, I'm a network engineer. And then people would ask, okay, what is network engineering? And I have to explain it some way. Sometimes they understand it, or sometimes they don't. What I'm going to say here is that, yes, there are some other fields that you can enjoy, or you can work in the IT industry, which are not software engineering. So we are going to have look into deep dive into these sections, kind of introduction. So this is what I'm going to talk today, most of my time. So we are going to talk about the IT infrastructure services. Let's see what this actually means and what are the components in this sector and what are the available career paths and certifications. And then I will go into networking and security domains. This is kind of my expertise. And we'll see what are the new developments in these areas as well. And then I will go into a bit of foreign working and living mindset, I would say. What kind of mentality we should have when we are planning to go overseas, maybe for work or maybe for living. And at the last, I will share my experiences and how I build up my career. And so what is infrastructure? What is IT infrastructure? By definition, it is a system of hardware, software, facilities, and service components that support the delivery of business systems, IT-enabled process. That's kind of a technical jargons, I would say. Simply, it is kind of similar to infrastructure which we have for the government, society, or organization, or country. It's like it could be like road infrastructure or electricity, water, buildings, and other things. So IT infrastructure is also kind of helping component of a business, a component which helps business, but it does not directly generate revenue unless it is software engineering company. And this comprises of multiple components which require to operate the organization's IT environment. And if we go further into this, traditionally it operates within the organization, and it does not go beyond the organization physical boundaries. Most of the time when we talk about the IT industry, we are collecting the data and we are processing the data in somehow to get output which supports the business. So traditionally, those data stays within the organization boundaries. But with the later developments, especially with the cloud offerings or the cloud technology, it has gone beyond the physical boundaries of the organization. And so there's a service industry to serve these components. We talk about there are multiple components in this IT infrastructure environment. So there's a service industry which is helping building and operating these components. So what are those components which I talked about in the previous slide? So there are multiple components. These may not be the only components which are available in the IT infrastructure, but these are the components which I choose so that we can go over these and identify what are the available career paths. And so I know most of you know most of these components. We have seen that, okay, when we say that IT, yes, you need the computers or the end devices. And that's where someone log into systems and get whatever the information and the service, whatever the organization of the business. And those end device computers will be let me take a, there's a point here. So these end devices will be communicating somehow with the applications, the end devices or the end computers. It could be laptop, or it could be desktop computer, it could be IP, mobile phone. They need to have some kind of the client applications, and those client applications will need to be communicated with some applications or the applications running on a central server. Those applications need to be running on, we call servers. These are, in simple terms, like high-end computers which have more resources. And those servers needs to be running on, we call operating systems or some other kind of hypervisor in new terms. And then these applications running on the servers, they need to have some way to store the information which they are collecting through these end devices. At the same time, when these end devices wants to get some information, they want to fetch the information from these places. So there are database or the storage component in this IT infrastructure. And all these components need to be interconnected. There should be a way to communicate between all these the components. So there's a network segment in this environment, which is taking care of all the inter-device communication. And then that's not enough for the IT infrastructure. There should be a way that only the authorized people accessing those information, those data. And at the same time, only the authorized people should change or alter those information. And then all this confidential information should be available to authorized people anytime they need. So that's kind of basics of the security definition. So there should be a security team who take care of the security of data. And you may not be using the off-the-shelf application, I would say. Some application products which you buy from some other companies or vendors. You may have some application development team inside your organization. And then there's another component, internet and intranet. People who are within your organization may need internet access to get some information from the outside. At the same time, the people who are outside may need to get information from your organization. So we have internet component, and you might have different facilities in different countries, the different cities. Then you might need to interconnect those the facilities. You need the people who are specialized in those sections. And then the telecommunication. Traditionally, this was used to be some we called intercom system, which are just telephone, which is hanging somewhere in the organization. But once the IT infrastructure, or I would say copper cable network, has been built around the organization, people realized that, okay, we can use this copper network cables or the copper network infrastructure, which is used for the data communication, for the same the voice communication as well. So there was something called voice over Ethernet or the voice over IP started, and then it was further developed into the new term called collaboration. It's not only the voice communication. Now we are getting all the video conferencing, or you are having soft phones on your laptops or on your mobile phones, and all those whenever you get a call from call to your phone on your desktop, your soft phone on your laptop is acting as well. Something. So it's like the telecommunication. So it has become a part of the IT infrastructure as well. And then you need, the organizations need to have separate data centers. When the organizations become large organizations, or their data has become more and more important, they don't want to keep the information on the same place where the headquarters is. They might need some different data centers or the different facilities. And finally, the cloud connectivity, as we speak in previous slide, it's not only the data which is sitting in your organization now. If you are offloading some of your information into the cloud system. So these are the main components. And when you go through these ones, you might have realized that, okay, now there are different career paths in each of these components. Like the computers and devices are being managed by the desktop guys, if we say, desktop support guys. I'm talking about the large organizations. I work for the city of Toronto. It's about 22,000 people work for the city of Toronto, and there are also divisions, and and so they have all these separate divisions in-house. So they have desktop support team, and there are people who are specialized in the desktop support. Now they are not only supporting desktops. Now they're supporting the mobile phones and the tablets and everything. And there are people in big organizations and other system integration companies who are middle person between the products and customers. There are specialized people who know well about the servers, I would say, hardware devices, and then operating systems and the hypervisors for the virtualization. This is another section that lots of people invest in their learning, and there are also people who are expert in this section, this field, working in the industry. Applications, we know that it's like, for an example, the SAP applications, which are helping most of the organizations, and it could be some other HR applications. There are experts in these sections as well who are working only these sections. And then the storage of the database, starting with database administrators, who are very skillful and doing only the database related work. And then, yes, networking field, one of the major components in this infrastructure segment. Security as well. So what I wanted to highlight is that each of these components has its own career paths, and maybe you are not starting from the day one in one of these the component. That depends on you. Like if you start with the certification, when we go into the certification section, when we start with the you can start with the certifications each of this segment, or if you join with system integration company or in customer company organization.
Engineer Kamal, sorry for disturbing. Sanjay here. if you could explain in Sinhala also a little bit with this kind of infrastructure component, these slides, that will be a little bit easy because it's almost 20 minutes we have. Kindly
Yeah,
present,
sure.
please.
I
Thanks.
will do that. Yeah, no worries. Oh, මම ඇත්තටම ඉස්සෙල්ලා ස්ලයිඩ් එකත් කිල්ලම එන්නම්. අපි දැන් අපි මේ ටොපික් එකේදී අතම කතා කරේ මොනවද IT infrastructure කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක. ඒ ඩෙෆිනිෂන් එක විදිහට තියෙන අතරම IT infrastructure කියලා කියන්නේ hardware software ඒ වගේම facilities එහෙම නැත්නම් buildings ඒ වගේම ඒක තියෙන service components කියන ඔක්කොම එකතු වුණාම තමයි IT infrastructure කියලා අපි ගන්නෙ. ඒකට ඒක අපි දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ government එක නැත්නම් අපේ society එකේ තියෙන infrastructure වගේම company එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒක direct revenue එකක් generate කරන එකක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් company එකේ පැවැත්මට ඒ වගේම company එකේ අනිත් වැඩවලට උදව් වෙන component එකක් විදිහට තමයි IT infrastructure තියෙන්නේ. ඒකෝට දැන් අපි අතර මේකදී මේක software development එහෙම නැත්නම් software කියන එකෙන් වෙනස් දෙයක්ද කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න නෑ. එහෙම නෙමෙයි. එතන software development කියන එකත් මේ IT infrastructure කියන අතුරටම තමයි එන්නේ. මොකද අපි අපේ topic එකේදී කතා කරන්නේ software development කියන එක නිසා මම ඒක ගැන වැඩි highlight කරන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් the basically ගත්තාම IT infrastructure කියලා අපි කතා කරන්නේ මොකක් හරි organization එකකට අවශ්‍ය වෙන ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ business එකට උදව් වෙන component එකක්. එහෙම නැත්නම් IT segment එක තමයි. එතකොට දැන් මේකදී අපි එක දෙයක් කතා කරන්නේ service industry කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද මේ infrastructure කියන IT infrastructure කියන එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ products and services වලින් තමයි හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ company එක බෑ ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕනේ devices හදාගන්න ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වෙන්න කෙනෙක්ගෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට කට හැදිච්ච සර්විස් ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ ගැන තමයි අපි මේ කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් මොනවද මේ IT infrastructure එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන components කියලා බැලුවොත් අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දන්නවා දැන් මේ තියෙන components අපි හැමෝම දන්න දේවල් මෙහෙම දේවල් තියෙනවා කියලා මම හිතන්නේ මේ session එකට සහභාගී වෙලා ඉන්න ගොඩක් අය දන්නවා. නමුත් අපි ඕවා වෙනම components විදිහට එහෙම නැත්නම් මේවා carrier paths විදිහට තියෙන දේවල් කියන එක තමයි highlight කරන්න මම උත්සාහ කරන්නේ මෙතනදී. දැන් end devices එහෙම නැත්නම් computers කියලා ගත්තාම ඒක දැන් ඉස්සරහන් නිකම්ම desktop computer එකක් විතරයි. දැන් මම මේ desktop computer එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, laptop එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් tablet එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් phone එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට ඒකට support කරන large organization එකක් ගත්තාම ඒකට support කරන්න වෙනම team එකක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට දැන් මේ end devices විතරක් තිබිලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මේවා run මොකක් හරි client applications තියෙනවා නම් ඒ client applications වලට connect වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ යාගේ main server එකක තියෙන application එකට. එතකොට ඒකත් දැන් large organization එකක් ගත්තාම එහෙම නැත්නම් large application එකක් එහෙම නැත්නම් ගොඩක් common application එකක් ගත්තාම ඒ application එකට වෙනම trained වෙච්ච ඒ skill එක වෙනම තියෙන applications owners ලා කියලා කියනවා අපි. වෙනම team එකක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට මේ applications නිකම්ම run වෙන්න බෑ. ඒක අපි හැමෝම දන්නවා. server එකක් කියන hardware එකක operating system එකක් Windows හරි Linux හරි operating system එකක් run වෙනවා. ඒ operating system එක තමයි මේ application එක run වෙන්නේ. ඒකෝර දැන් අතන මේ hyper-OS කියලා කියන්නේ virtualization වලට තියෙන එක technical term එකක්. අතන කොහොමද virtualize කරන්නේ servers කියන එක. දැන් ඕකේ example එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඉස්සර නම් අතන අපි කියනවා bare metal server එකක් කරගෙන ඔකට operating system එකක් දාලා අපි සාමාන්‍ය computer එක කරනවා වගේ ඒ operating system එක තමයි applications run වෙන්නේ. නමුත් දැන් එහෙම නෙමෙයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වෙන්නේ high end servers එකක් හරි නැත්නම් set එකක් හරි ගන්නවා. ඒක උඩ මේ hypervisor එකක් run වෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔය VMware හරි නැත්නම් Microsoft hypervisor එකක් හරි ඒක උඩ තමයි operating systems run වෙන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් ඉස්සර එක server එක operating system එකක් විතරයි run වුනේ. මොකද දැන් තියෙන servers එක server එකක් ගත්තාම නැත්නම් server cluster එකක් servers දෙකකින් හැදිච්ච එකක් ගත්තාම ඒකේ මේ hypervisor එකක් run වෙලා ඕකේ සර්වර්ස් 100ක් 200ක් විතර රන් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේ environment එකක්. ඒතකොට දැන් ඒ sections වලට වෙනම career path එකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද ඒ දේවල් වල කරන්න ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙන නිසා වෙනම skills තියෙන කට්ටිය වෙනම team එකක් ඒ වෙනුවෙන් ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒකෝට මේ ටික කතා කරපුවා මේ applications වල නිකම්ම වැඩ කරන්න බෑ. කොහේ හරි තැනක ඒ application එකෙන් collect කරන information save කරලා තියන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම application එකට ඕනේ වුණාම ගන්න පුළුවන්කමක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි අත්‍තරම storage කියන component එකක් එන්නේ. එතකොට මේකත් database එහෙම නැත්නම් database administrators කියලා මම start කරන්න මගේ specialty area ගන්න මේක නමුත් මේ component එකක් විදිහට ගත්තාම එතන මේකේ database administrators ලා කියන තැනින් පටන් ගත්තාම ඔතනින් ඉස්සරහට යනවා. ඒ වෙනම team එකක් ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේ හැමදේම එකට connect කරන්න network team එකක් ඉන්න ඕනේ. the network එකක් through තමයි මේ හැමදේම එකට connect වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ network මේ හැමදේම එකට connect කරගෙන network එක through තිබ්බට හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඔය අපි කතා කරන data secure වෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක safe වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක කරන්න security team එකක් කියලා ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට මේගොල්ලෝන්ගේ main දේවල් තමයි මේ collect කරන data access කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ authorized කට්ටියට විතරයි. ඒ වගේම ඒ වගේම authorized කට්ටියට විතරයි මේ collect කරන information change කරන්න පුළුවන්, alter කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ඒ function එක හැම වෙලෙම available වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක එක වෙලාවක තිබිලා තව වෙලාවක නැති වෙන දෙයක් වෙන්න බෑ. ඔය කියන main කාරණා තුනක් එක්ක තමයි මේ security teams කියන එක build වෙන්නේ. මේගොල්ලෝ තමයි ඒකට ensure කරන්නේ security කියන component එක මේ IT environment එක ඇතුළේදී. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒකට දැන් අර off the shelf applications විතරක් අරගෙන හරියන්නේ නැහැ සමහර organizations වලට. ඒගොල්ලන්ට වෙනම application development team එකක් ඒගොල්ලෝ තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. in-house buildings, in-house development කරන්න. ඒ වගේම ඒකට දැන් organization එකක් ගත්තාම ඒකේ වැඩ කරන කට්ටියට ඉන්ටර්නෙට් වලට ගිහලා මොනවා හරි information ගන්න තියෙන වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් through කාට හරි ඇවිල්ලා organization එකකින් information ගන්න ඕන වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම තමයි එකම organization එකේ එක රටවල් වල එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙනම cities වල තියෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ branches ඒවා ඔක්කොම එකට connect කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඔය part එක කරන වෙනම internet and intranet කියලා වෙනම තව team එකක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ expertise එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කොහොමද මේක අපි අපේ network එක internet පැත්තට නැත්නම් intranet පැත්තට connect කරන්න කියන එක. එතකොට ඒක අතර වෙනම career path එකක්. ඊට පස්සේ මේ telecommunications කියන එක දැන් ඉස්සර අපි ගත්තාම අපි කතා කරන්නේ නිකන් organization එකක් ඇතුලේ ටෙලිෆෝන් සිස්ටම් එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා එක ඉන්ටර්කොම් සිස්ටම් එකක් කියලා නිකන් ෆෝන්ස් වෙනම කොපර් කේබල් වලින් හැදිච්ච නෙට්වර්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තැනකට කනෙක්ට් වෙනවා PABX එකක් කියලා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ කෝල් රවුටින් කරන තැනකට ඊට පස්සේ ඒක හරියම ලිමිටඩ් නිකන් කෝල්ස් ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේ නමුත් ඊට පස්සේ දැන් මේ data වලට වෙනම data network එකක් build up වුණාට පස්සේ අලුත් ටෙක්නොලොජි එකක් ආවා voice over ethernet කියලා. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ ethernet අපි කතා කරන data network එකේ through voice වැඩ කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම තමයි අතන start වුණේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක voice over IP කියලා. දැන් ඒක ඇත්තටම දැන් අපි කතා කරන collaboration කියන එහෙම නැත්නම් audio video conferencing ඊට පස්සේ messaging system ඔය කියන හැම දෙයක්මත් එක්ක එන වෙනම එකක් වෙනම ෆීල්ඩ් එකක් ඒක. ඉතින් ඒකට සර්විස් කරන්න වෙනම ටීම් එකක් ඉන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඒ වගේ ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි අතන මේ ටෙලිකමියුනිකේෂන්ස් ටීම් කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ වගේ තමයි මේ data centers කියලා දැන් අපි කතා කරන මේ data ප්‍රමාණය size එකෙන් ලොකු වෙද්දී එහෙම නැත්නම් organization size එක ලොකු වෙද්දී ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒක head office එකේ කියන්නේ organization එකේ head office එකේ තියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ වෙනම data center එකක් හදනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් same building එකේ තියන්නේ නැහැ. data වගේ ලොකු data ප්‍රමාණයක් process කරන්න ලොකු resource ප්‍රමාණයක් අවශ්‍ය නිසා. ඉතින් ඒ part එක කරන්න data centers and facilities කියන එක. ඊට පස්සේ cloud connectivity. අපි ගොඩක් මම හිතන්නේ හැමෝම අහලා ඇති දැන් මේ හැම දෙයක්ම cloud එකට යනවා කියන කතාව. ඉතින් ඒකට වෙනම ටීම් එකක්. ඔය ටික තමයි අපි අත්‍තරම කතා කරගෙන ආවේ. දැන් මේකේ highlight කරන්න ඕනේ තමයි අපි IT infrastructure components කියලා ගත්තාම මේ හැම component එකක්ම කියලා කියන්නේ අත්‍තරම වෙනම career path එකක්. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේවා ඔක්කොම වෙන වෙනමත් යන සමහරවිට දැන් organization එක පොඩි වෙද්දී එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි කතා කරන අපේ industry එක පොඩි වෙද්දී ගොඩක් merge වෙනවා එකට අත්‍තරම සමහරවිට servers and applications කියනවා එකම team එකෙන් කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ තුනම එකම team එකෙන් කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. network security and internet intranet කියනවා එකම team එකෙන් කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අමුතු ඔයගෙන අපි career එකක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් අපේ specialties අපි හදාගන්නදී මේවා වෙන වෙනම තව ඉස්සරහට develop වෙන අපිට develop කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් sections. Okay, I will quickly move on to this one. Where are the professionals needed in this sector? Here it is like some details about the internet. Actually, it is predicted that Ware's data will be grow 175 CB in 2025. So this much of data, like you can see that how much it is if we look at in these figures. And this is only the internet data, and the data collected and managed by the organizations or the enterprises depends on the size of the organization. And what I want to highlight here is that this is actually the diagram, or this the figure is being used for some explanation in the security field. But I thought that, okay, this is a bit relevant here, because what we see as internet, we call it surface web, is only 4%. And then there's a section called deep web. This is some protected area in the internet. Yes, it is accessible through the internet, but you can't just see like Google, through the Google or the YouTube. You may not see these. These are protected information. So like for an example, it could be medical records or the library access or legal documentation, so government information or something like that. So, and the dark web, no, these are not something that we are interested in here. We are not going to talk in this part, but this 90+4% is, especially this 90%, has to be managed by the proper or the skilled professionals, because these are someone's responsibility. If you don't treat them, or if you don't have the security to secure this information, then someone will be in trouble. So these are the areas, especially this 90%, is where the professionals are needed. So we can think of, okay, 90% of 175. What could it be? So that's where all the infrastructure components which we discussed in previous segment will go into. And when we talk about the market share, it's not only that now we see that, okay, there's a huge amount of data going to be, and someone needs to be working on those fields, or I would say maneuver those data. It's not only us, actually. Big tech companies are investing heavily on both hardware and software, because they know, okay, there's a huge amount of data, and if we work hard and if we have our devices and services working on those segments, there's a big market opportunity. So what they do is, what they need is trained and skilled professionals to sell and deploy, operate and support those products and services. They can't have them, they can't get those skilled professionals just from the universities, because normally universities are vendor neutral, or if it is the government, they they can't teach the vendor information. So they have something called vendor certifications. So, and so most of the big players have their own certification tracks for all major products lines of their businesses. And there are some vendor neutral certifications as well, especially for the cyber security. There are vendor neutral certifications, and they are also well paid and well recognized. And most certifications prove that you have the product specific knowledge and experience. And these are key to go through the initial HR filtering, especially when you are applying for jobs internationally. You will be, your application will be among thousands of other applications. And HR departments may not be able to go manually for the applications, and they have to have some kind of software which filter out the applications based on their the requirements. So vendor certifications may help you to pick your applications or go through these filtering softwares. At the same time, the certifications help to design and planning operational work in any of the infrastructure domains, because you have the knowledge and you have the confidence that you are certified. The other interesting fact is that these key players or big companies, they always invest on the most trendy market. They do the research, and or they hire some companies to do the research or to identify where will the this market goes, and then they align or they restructure their certification paths constantly to make it relevant for the future demands. And so if we follow the vendor certifications, we don't necessarily have to do our own research and find out, okay, what will be the next trend. If you see what is the vendor certifications are going, then most probably it will be the next developing industry that you need to be prepared for. And some vendor certifications has become industry standard. Especially Cisco has been industry leader in the network segment for, I would say, decades. So their certifications has become an industry standard. Yes, CCNA is Cisco Certified Network Associate, but even for other networking products, they prefer, okay, if you have CCNA, then you can do this device services as well, kind of. Okay, these are the available job opportunities. This is in general, actually. So if you are in this IT infrastructure segment, as I said, like there are products and services involved in this segment, because most of the time these products your organization cannot make, or the services you may not be able to deliver. So most of the time these are project based. So there are some job roles available. So the pre-sales, there should be some skilled people who design they're like who can design the products, or the design the integration of the new products into organizations. And there should be some the pre-sales account managers, or could be in a non-tech non-tech position, but you don't have to have very good technical knowledge on all these devices, but you should be able to communicate with the higher management or the people who are trying to buy those products. And then there should be people or the professionals who can implement these devices and services, who can, we would say integration part or deployments. And then after the deployment, there should be some post-sale the engineers who could, or post-sale technicians who can support these the systems. And obviously there should be the project management as well, and third-party consulting. There are some other job roles within this segment, but these are the kind of the main parts of this main job roles which involved in this section. And who would be the employers for these job roles? If I see in the Sri Lankan context, there are some system integration companies within Sri Lanka. So the system integration companies are the middle person in between the products and the product vendors and the end organizations. And there are big or small or end customers who needs those products and services. And there are some system integration companies and end customers outside Sri Lanka as well. So these are the employees that you can join with those skill sets. And then, of course, yes, you can do some freelancing as well in these fields. Right? Most of the time, you should be a expert in one of those components, especially to go into this freelancing segment. Otherwise, organizations will not be able to hire to get the work done. Or you can look for some opportunities online as well, some websites like Outsourcing.com. You can go to these websites and see, okay, if you are interested in being a network administrator or the network engineer, you can go and search for the network engineer and see what are the qualifications. And then, of course, the migration opportunities as well, especially because lots of countries, there's a requirement for the professionals in these sectors. So for an example, if you say that, okay, what are the job codes available for to migrate to this country? So you will see lots of these IT infrastructure component streams are there on those available job codes. So, and the other thing is that in small and medium scale companies, most of these job roles could be overlapped or merged. But when it comes to large organizations, these are separate roles. So what are the latest developments?
Engineer Kamal, shall we explain that part also in Signal?
Yeah, okay. I think මෙතන ඉස්සලා නැති මෙතනදී අපි අත්‍තරම කතා කරේ දැන් අර ඉස්සලා කතා කරපු IT infrastructure components නැත්නම් ඒ career paths මොනවට කොතෙන්ද apply වෙන්නේ කියන එක. එතෙන් තව මේ පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරමු දැන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් කියලා කියන 175 zettabyte size එක 2025 වෙනකොට හැදෙනවා කියලා තමයි target කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එතනින් නිකන් අපි ගත්තොත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන්නේ අපි දකින ඉන්ටර්නෙට් වලින් 4ක් තමයි ඔය දැන් අපිට ෆ්‍රී ඉන්ටර්නෙට් විදිහට නැත්නම් සර්ෆස් වෙබ් කියලා අපිට දකින්න හම්බෙන්නේ. නමුත් එතනින් යට එහෙම නැත්නම් ඩීප් වෙබ් කියලා 90ක් විතර තියෙනවා. මේක ඇත්තටම protected segment එකක් විදිහට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ අපිට subscription එකක් හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට authorize කරගෙන නැත්නම් අපිට payment එකක් කරලා තමයි මෙන්න මේ contents බලන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට access තියෙනවා නම් විතරයි මේ ටිකට යන්න පුළුවන්. I think මෙන්න මේ දෙක ගත්තම මේ section දෙකට තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි කතා කරන IT professionals ලගේ එහෙම නැත්නම් infrastructure professionals ලගේ requirement එක තියෙන්නේ. especially මෙන්න මේ section එකේ තියෙන information වලට ඒ information owners ලා responsible. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ එහෙමනම් ඒ information manual කරන්න එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක operate කරන්න certified එහෙම නැත්නම් qualified professionals ලා තියාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට මේ segment එක තමයි අනිවාර්යයෙන් ඔය කියන IT professionals ලාව අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපි නිකන් හිතාගන්න මේ 175 zettabyte වලින් 90% කියන data ප්‍රමාණයකට තමයි අපි ඔය කතා කරන career paths වලින් serve කරන්න හදන්නේ. ඒකට මේකම තව ටිකක් එහා පැත්තට ගියාම අපි කතා කරන්නේ මේ ඕක අපි විතරක් දැන් අපි බලන්නේ අපේ පැත්තෙන් අපි අපේ ඉස්සරහට ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න ඕන මොකේද කියන එක. නමුත් ඕක අපිට කලින් අතර මේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ ඉන්නේ big companies. දැන් මේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එක ගත්තාම අපි කතා කරන්නේ products and services companies එහෙම නැත්නම් vendors ලා ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට decide කරන්නේ කොහෙද මේක යන්නේ කියන එක. මොකද company එකක් ගත්තාම ඒකට decide කරන්න බෑ මම යාට ඕනේ IT products යාට හදාගන්න බෑ. ඒකට vendor කෙනෙක්ගෙන් තමයි ගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට vendors ලා තමයි මේකේ govern කරන්නේ මොකද්ද ඊළඟට වෙන්නේ කියන එක. I think එතකොට මේ big companies හැම වෙලේම invest කරනවා ඊළඟට වෙන්න තියෙන trend එක මොකක්ද කියන එකට. එතකොට අපි බලා ඉන්නවා වගේ මේගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා right මෙච්චර data ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ data ප්‍රමාණය process කරන්න අවශ්‍ය products and services අපි ගාව හැදෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ එහෙම කරාට වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒ ටික operate කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් දැන් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ products විකුණන්න ඒ වගේම ඒවා integrate කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ගිහිල්ලා customers ගාව set කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒවා operate කරන්න, support කරන්න skilled professionals නැත්තම්. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ vendor certifications කියලා එකක් introduce කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක අතර මේ දැන් ඔය vendors ලා develop වෙනවත් එක්කම හැදිලා ආපු දේවල් තමයි මේ. අලුතෙන් හැදිච්ච දේවල් නෙමෙයි අතර. එතකොට මේ හැම vendor කෙනෙක්ම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ own certification path එකක් තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒ certification path එකෙන් තමයි ඇත්තටම ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕනේ professionals ව groom කරන්න එක පැත්තකින් ගත්තාම. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අතර professionals වලට හරි ලේසි. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා right මේ මම මේ vendor එක වැඩ කරන්න මම එයාගේ certifications තමයි කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඒ වගේම තමයි vendor neutral certification කියලා දෙකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් සමහර fields ගත්තාම දැන් IT infrastructure ඇතුලේ තියෙන සමහර fields ගත්තාම vendor neutral certification තමයි most strong. ඒ සමහර field networking වගේ ගත්තාම vendor neutral වලට වඩා vendor bias certifications තමයි ගොඩක් strong. ඒ වගේම තමයි දැන් certifications ගත්තාම දැන් අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට overseas opportunity එකට වගේ apply කරනවා නම් අපි application එක සමහරවිට තව application 10 ගණනක් ඇතුලේ තියෙන එකක්. එතකොට HR department එකකට බෑ ඔය හැම එකක්ම manually process කරලා ගන්න මේ first level filtering වලදී. ඒගොල්ලෝ HR මොකක් හරි filtering softwares use කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් නිකන් search කරලා බලනවා. එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට vendor certifications තියෙනවා නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට application එකක් උඩට යන්න තියෙන හැකියාව වැඩි. යෝගිම තමයි දැන් වැඩ කරගෙන යනකොටත් එහෙම නැත්නම් කොහේතන වැඩ කරනකොට මේ වෙන්ඩර් සර්ටිෆිකේෂන්ස් තියෙනවා නම් අපිට වෙන්ඩර්ම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. එතන සර්ටිෆිකේෂන්ස් තියෙනවා නම් අපි වැඩ කරන ෆීල්ඩ් එකට අදාළව ඒක අපි වැඩ කරන අපිට හෙල්ප් එකක් වෙනවා වගේම ඒකට අපි ගාවේ knowledge එක තියෙන නිසා අපිට confidence එකක් තියෙනවා. certified කියන confidence එක. අනිත් එක තමයි එතකොට දැන් මේ key players ලා කියලා ගත්තාම ඒගොල්ලෝ හැම වෙලේම රිසර්ච් කරනවා මොකක්ද ඊළඟට එන්න තියෙන ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එක කියලා. එතකොට ඒ ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එකට අදාළව තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සර්ටිෆිකේෂන් පාත්ස් ටික ඔක්කොම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අලුතෙන් අපි කියන රීස්ට්‍රක්චර් කරනවා රියලයින් කරනවා හැම වෙලේම. එතකොට අපි ඒක ට්‍රැක් කරගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් මොනවද මේගොල්ලෝගේ ඊළඟට එන ට්‍රෙන්ඩ්ස් මොනවද ඊළඟ සර්ටිෆිකේෂන්ස් කියලා. එතකොට අපි දන්නවා රයිට් මේක තමයි මේගොල්ලෝ ෆෝකස් කරන ඊළඟ ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එක. මාව එතකොට රෙඩි කරන්න ඕනේ මේකට කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරන්නේ ජොබ් රෝල්ස් කියන එක මොනවද මේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ තියෙන ජොබ් රෝල්ස් and මොනවගේ තැන්වලද අපිට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට දැන් මේවා ගොඩක් කලාවට අපි දැන් ප්‍රොඩක්ට් and සර්විසස් ඉගෙන ගත්තාම ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් විදිහට තමයි යන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් ගොඩක් කලාවට දැන් මොකක් හරි අලුත් ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක අපි ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ විදිහට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මෙන්න මේ වැඩේ මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකෙන් වාට මෙච්චර more efficient විදිහට වැඩේ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මේක තමයි ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එක. ඔය පරණ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකේ හිටියොත් මේකයි වෙන්නේ වගේ දේවල් කියලා end customers ලා එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔය අපි කතා කරපු data owners ලා කන්වින්ස් කරනවා. කරලා අලුතෙන් projects විදිහට තමයි යන්නේ. ඒකට අප්ඩේට් වෙන්නේ මේ විදිහට. I think එතකොට ඔය process එකේදී තියෙන job roles තමයි දැන් pre-sales design part එක කරන්න වෙනම role එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක technical එහෙම නැත්නම් engineering part එක. ඊට පස්සේ okay දැන් pre-sales non technical part එක කරන්න තව කෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕනේ. කියන්නේ හැම වෙලෙම technical කරන technical එක්කෙනාට ගිහිල්ලා end customers එක්ක කතා කරලා ඔය වැඩේ කරන්න අමාරුයි. මොකද end customer ගාව තියෙන technical එකනේ කොහොමද technical දෙන්න කතා කරා කියලා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වැඩේ වෙන්න අමාරුයි. ඊට උඩ level එකේ වෙනම communication එකක් යන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට pre-sales account managers ලා වගේ non technical role එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි දැන් ඔය pre-sales design එක මැදි ඕක implement කරන්න implementation කරන engineers ලා technicians ලා හරි ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි implement කරාට පස්සේ ඒක support කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මොනවා හරි technical issues වලට support කරන්න වගේ දේවල් වලට වෙනම තව team එකක් ඉන්නවා. ඕක සමහර ලාවට pre-sales කට්ටියම තමයි පොඩි companies ගත්තාම pre-sales කට්ටියම තමයි වැඩේ කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ obviously project management part එකක් තියෙන project management role එකක් මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි third party consulting වගේ දේවලුත් මේක තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර ලාවට දැන් the large organizations ගත්තාම ලංකාව සමහරට දැන් කොයිතරම් දුරකට දැන් ඒක වෙනවද කියලා දැන් මෙහි හැම ගත්තොත් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට කෙලින්ම ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් ගන්න බෑ. එයා third party එකකින් වෙනම third party consulting company එකකින් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ requirement එක assess කරලා ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඒක offer කරන්නේ vendor මෙන්න මේ product එක මෙන්න මේ විදිහට ගන්න කියලා. ඒතකොට ඔය third party consulting වෙනම companies උත් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි දැන් ලංකාවේ ඇතුළේ විදිහට සායලී employees ලා කවුද කියලා ගත්තොත් දැන් number 1 ඇත්තටම especially මේ field එකට එනවා නම් මගේ recommendation එක නම් system integration company එකක තමයි පුළුවන් තරම් join වෙන්න try කරන්න ඕන. මගේ experience එකත් එක්ක තව කෙනෙක්ගෙන් හව සමහර different opinion එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් අපිට හොඳටම experience එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් සහ අපි ගොඩක් fast අලුත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මේ system integration company එකක් එක්ක join වුණොත්. System integration company එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ඉස්සරහත් කතා කරා මේ middle person between the vendor and end customer කියලා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි සලා ඒගොල්ලෝ educate කරනවා මේ vendor මෙන්න මේ new products මෙන්න මේ new technologies තියෙනවා කියන එක. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි ඒක අරගෙන යන්නේ කස්ටමර් ලාට. ඒ වගේ the end customers කියලා කියන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ හැමෝම අයිඩියා එකක් තියෙනවා මොනවා වගේ කියන ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගවර්න්මන්ට් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රයිවට් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒගොල්ලෝ ළඟේ තියෙන IT requirements වලට එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ in house වෙනම infrastructure team එකක් ඉන්නවා ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි decide කරන්නේ මොනවා වගේ products services ද ගන්න කියන එක. එතකොට ඊළඟට තමයි මේ overseas opportunities තියෙනවා ඔය දෙකේම අතර system integration and end customer කියන දෙකේම overseas opportunities තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම freelancing part එක මේක ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඔය අපි කතා කරපු මොකක් හරි එක field එකක expert කෙනෙක් වුණාට පස්සේ තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ දේ කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. company එකක් නැතුව තනිය පුද්ගලෙක්ව විශ්වාස කරලා වැඩක් කරන්න නම් expert කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔය industry known person කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම තමයි online opportunities බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට දැන් ඔය Upwork වගේ වෙබ්සයිට් වලට ගිහිල්ලා අතන ඔක දැන් අපි මෙහෙම කියනකටත් වඩා හොඳම දේ තමයි දැන් Upwork වගේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකකට ගිහිල්ලා දැන් පාට network administrator කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕන නම් Upwork වගේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකකට ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න පුළුවන් network administrators කියන job එක post කරලා තියෙන කට්ටියගේ qualifications මොනවද කියලා. ඒකෙන් අපිට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් අපි කොහොමද මේ අපිව ප්‍රූම් කරගන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඒ වගේ තමයි migration opportunities. දැන් මේ field එකේ vacuum එකක් තියෙනවා සමහර countries වල මේ special fields වල දැන් cyber security වගේ section එකක් ගත්තාම ගොඩක් රටවල දැන් මේ උස්සල ලොකු vacuum එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ එතකොට දැන් normal job visa විදිහට මේ migration විදිහට යන job codes වල දානවා cyber security professionals වල ඒ job codes තමයි high priority තියෙන්නේ. ඒක example එකක් විතරයි. ඒකේ කාලෙන් කාලට ඒක වෙනස් වෙනවා. නමුත් මේ field එකෙන් ඒ වගේ opportunities තියෙනවා. Okay, I go for the latest development next. In this field as well, yes, the cloud offering, I think most of know what are these cloud offerings. So it is, especially if we talk about this infrastructure as a service, you can buy compute or the storage and networking parts from the cloud. And so it has become a kind of new trend in this field as well. And then the artificial intelligence and the machine learning has been embedded in most of the new IT products. Now, for an example, the traditional routers did not have any kind of AI or ML the capabilities. They just work as per the configuration which we do on the routers and switches. But now things has changed. All these components has come into the this infrastructure world as well. And the automation, it has become a big trend, especially in the last few years. Now everything which we used to do manually is being automated now. And the edge computing, edge computing part, and it's something that edge devices are doing the computing on the itself rather than sending all the information to the servers. And the cyber security, yes, it's there are lots of development in these sections as well. And you can see all these other things. I don't think that I have to explain in detail. Just give me a second. Okay, sorry. මේකත් මම හිතන සිංහලෙන් පොඩක් කියලා ඉන්නම්. දැන් මේ latest development වලදී මේ fields වලදී අතන cloud offerings කියන එක තමයි latestම development එක. අතරම දැන් මම කතා කරපු සමහර දැන් අපි කතා කරපු sections වල සමහර ඒවල් මමත් අතරම අනිත් fields වල ඉන්න කට්ටියට කතා කරලා ආපහුම ඒගොල්ලොත් කියන්නේ නෑ, number one is the cloud now. Yes, you need the basic qualifications, but focus on the cloud කියලා. Again, the cloud offerings තමයි latest development එක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. I think අපි ඒකට සූපනේ තමයි අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න ඒවට කරගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම මේ artificial intelligence and machine learning කියලා කියන්නේ artificial intelligence කියලා කියන කෘත්‍රිම මොලයක් කියන ගේම නැත්තම් ඒ device එකකට දැන් ඉස්සර අපි කරන router එකක් හරි switch එකක් හරි අරගෙන ඒකට අපි configure කරනවා කියලා කියන එක instructions දෙනවා මෙන්න මේ විදිහට තමයි වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. දැන් ඉස්සරහට එහෙම නැත්නම් දැන් අලුත්ම trend එක ලා තියෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම නෙමෙයි අපි basic instructions දෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ device එක learn කරනවා එන අනිත් information එක learn කරනවා කොහොමද එයා වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. For an example දැන් අපි ඉස්සර නම් අපි කියනවා basically static route කියලා දෙකකින් අපි කියනවා route කරන්න කොහෙටද යන්න ඕනේ මේ destination එකට යන්න ඕන නම් යන්න ඕනේ කොහෙටද කියලා. එතකොට අපිට links දෙකක් through යන්න තියෙනවා නම් අපි දෙකෙන් කොහොමද යන්න කියන එක අපි instructions දීලා තියෙනවා කොහොමද decide කරන්න කියලා. මුත් දැන් අලුතින් ඉන්න routers වලට හිතන්න පුළුවන් right මේ link එක දැන් congested වෙලා තියෙන මේ වෙලාවේ මම දැන් අනිත් එකට move වෙන්න ඕනේ. වගේ දේවල්. ඒ වගේ automation මේකත් ඇත්තටම දැන් ගොඩක් trending වෙලා තියෙන දෙයක්. හැම දෙයක්ම automate වෙනවා. දැන් ඔක manually කරපු ගොඩක් දේවල් දැන් ඒ jobs ටික නැති වෙලා යන්නේ. jobs විදියට නෙමෙයි අත්‍තරම. නමුත් ඒ කරපු අපි දවසේ කරන වැඩ වලින් අපි කොහොම හරි manual වැඩ ගොඩක් කරනවා. දැන් ඒවා automate වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි දැන් move වෙන්න ඕනේ next level එකට. ඒ වගේම edge computing කියලා කියන්නේ වරක් කලාවට දැන් edge එකේ තියෙන device එක දැන් සරල විදියට කිව්වොත් එම edge එකේ තියෙන devices එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි ගත්තොත් දැන් අපේ තියෙන desktop එකක් හරි නැත්නම් tablet එකක් හරි මොකක් කරේ එකකින් ගොඩක් කලාවට අපි ඒගොල්ලෝ එකතු කරගන්න information process කරලා ඒ අවශ්‍ය ටික විතරයි ඒ අදාළ server එකට යවන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ අතරම end device එකේ තියෙන computing power එක වැඩි වෙනවත් එක්ක වෙන දේවල්. ඉතින් ඒක අලුත් trend එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මම අතර මේවා නිකන් list කරලා විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔයාලට interest එකක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ දේවල් ගිහිල්ලා කියවලා ඉගෙන ගන්න කියන එකට. ඒ වගේම තමයි cyber security කියන එකත් yes ඒක හරිම trending විදියට යන දෙයක්. ඒ වගේම තමයි ගොඩක් devices දැන් open source based products විදියට තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඉස්සර දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට Cisco routers කියනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේම operating system එකදී වෙනවා. දැන් ඒක open source based මේකක් විදිහට තමයි ගොඩක් devices යන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ wireless technology.
Engineer Kamal, sorry for disturbing.
Yeah.
Since we have limited time, let's try to summarize in Sinhala. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන එක පොඩ්ඩක් summary එක විතරක් කියමු engineer Kamal. මොකද අපේ time slot එක 8:30 වෙනකොට total අපේ time එක limit ලා තියෙන්නේ. තව මම slides ගොඩක් තියෙන නිසා අපි summary එක summarize කරමු සිංහලෙන් total content එක English වලින් explain කරමු.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. It's network engineering field. I don't think I have to go into each and every line here. I put it as simple as I can just to understand everything. This is the key component as we discussed in the previous slides, which connects all the other components together. And there are also protocols and technologies involved in here in the process of moving those information in between. And so it's like in basic terms, like IP address is well-known thing today. Like when you start our careers, IP address was not known, and we have to explain what is IP address if we want to troubleshoot something with someone who is just using the computers. But now things has changed, and everyone understand and know how the internet and the things are working. The IP address is some kind of basic thing now. And this is where I just want to highlight a little bit. As I said, Cisco has been like a leader in this networking segment for years. And so their certification path shows what are the current streams in the network engineering section. I will go a little bit details into each of these sections. So it's starting with enterprise networking, and this is where we call the campus network, or the organization network, or we call local area networks. Things are happening local, and when LAN, when we call the network within the organization where the users are connected most of the time. And so they have four different levels of the certifications as well. I don't think I have to go into the details of these ones, but these are the technology streams within the networking certification paths. And then if you go to the security, yes, Cisco has the security path as well. So most of this is based on the network security products, which they cover. And just one section for the service provider as well. So it's like we call it enterprise network. This is within the organization, and there should be a service provider who can connect enterprises around the globe or around the country as well. And these are the same people who provide the internet access as well. So internet and intranet connectivity service providers. So it runs with the basic enterprise or the basic networking knowledge, but they have some advanced technologies in this section. And then these are kind of new streams in the networking segment, not in the data center, not necessarily, but these ones. I think a little explained in the component slide, that collaboration. This is where all the telecommunication things happening. It's not like, as I said, it started with voice over IP and voice over Ethernet, but now it has become more, I would say, more broad area where they manage all the collaboration, all the communication. It could be phone calls, it could be video calls, video conferencing, messaging, and everything. And this is another emerging, I can't say emerging, it's a fairly new, but very trending segment as well, cyber ops. This is where the most of the security operation centers or the cyber operations are happening. And then obviously data center, not the it's kind of part of the enterprise network, but there are separate skill sets that you need to be developed to become a data center specialist. And the DUNet, and this is where the automation part is happening. And design, and most of all of these others were kind of the technical streams. Well, I would say operational skills. This is the part where the pre-sales or the design engineer comes. And I just list down 3 major cloud service providers and their service and their certifications, so that just to identify, just to highlight what are the available streams in the cloud certifications as well. So you can see that Amazon is, I would say, number one in this industry, and Microsoft Azure maybe number two. There are some other cloud service providers as well, but I just list down just to make it noise for me to explain. So each of these certification sections, we can see those components which we discussed in our IT infrastructure component segment. For an example, cloud network engineer is available on all these three certifications. The security part and the database, they all be there on the cloud as well. And where to start? There are, I would say, so as we discussed, vendors have the kind of the key role in here. So they are offering free basic courses as well. At the same time, they have the paid courses. If you go into these the websites, you can see that they have free courses just to start, and then for further learning, you may be able to buy some of the courses. And there are some online training institutions as well. Like for an example, the Coursera or Udemy.com. There may be some cheap options. And there are some local institutes as well. Other learning resources, books, or the video recordings, or the audio recordings, and on-the-job training. This is for the beginning. Like if you start working with system integration company or in customer, and you will get the hands-on experiences with those devices, and you definitely will get some good start over there as well. And there are some YouTube the tutorials as well. Those may not be the standards of the professional as the ones which we discussed above. Okay, and there are some network simulation tools that you can practice what you learned. And these are some kind of fun things to play around as well. So like there are some good ones, especially for the CCNA packet tracer, Cisco packet tracer. This is the free simulation tool. If you register with, I would say, if you register with this netcat.com process, then you will be able to download the packet tracer, or you can find it download from other some other places in the internet as well. But it's best if you download it from the Cisco, the Learning Academy. And GNS3 is another very good tool. You may not need it for the CCNA level, but if you go further into this, GNS3 is one of the best. And then EVE, emulated virtual environment, is for some advanced the testing. And as other vendors as well, there are some available resources, the network simulations. And right, I will explain these three in single as well. The network engineering කියන මම හිතන ආපහු මෙතන කියන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ මේක නිකන් අර basic network engineering information ටිකක් තමයි අපි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ. මෙතන මේකදී අත්‍තරම අපි කතා කරේ මේ දැන් ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරා දැන් මේ vendors ලාගේ තමයි key role එකක් තියෙන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ certification path ගත්තාම ඒක ඇතුළේ අපිට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් මොනවද trending market කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ ටික තමයි මෙතනදී තියෙන්නේ මෙතනදී කතා කරේ. ඊට පස්සේ මේකෙදි අත්‍තරම අපි බැලුවේ මේ cloud computing certifications ඇතුලේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියන එකටත් වඩා අපි අර මුලින් කතා කරපු IT infrastructure components ගොඩක් දේවල් මේ cloud එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. අපි සාමාන්‍ය IT infrastructure කියලා ගත්තාම ඒක දැන් physical දේවල් විදිහට තමයි අපි දකින්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි ඉස්සලා හිතුවේ. නමුත් ඇත්තටම දැන් cloud offerings කියන එක ආපුවම ඔය හැම දෙයක්ම නැති වෙලා කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ තිබ්බා. ඔය තිබුණා අපි කතා කරපු job roles. දැන් ඇත්තටම cloud computing ඇතුලේ ඔය කියපු technical skills වල requirement එක ඒ විදිහටම වගේ තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා තමයි ඇත්තටම දැන් මේ උදාහරණයක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් network engineer කියන එක නැත්නම් security engineers නැත්නම් database දැන් ඒ cloud computer certifications ඇතුලේ ඒ ටික ඒ විදිහටම තියෙනවා. හැබැයි different learning එකක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඔය professionals ලාගේ අවශ්‍යතාවය මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කොහෙන්ද මේක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න කියලා කතා කරපු තැන තමයි කිව්වේ දැන් එකක් තමයි දැන් ওই vendors ලා ඔයගලන්ට ඕනේ professionals ලා train කරගෙන යනවා වගේම vendors ලගේ දැන් basic level start කරන vendors ලගේ learning resources තියෙනවා basic level එක අපි free basic courses තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ online training institutes තියෙනවා දැන් Coursera මේ වගේ ඒවා. ඒකට ඒවා අතරම සමහර courses තියෙනවා free සමහර ඒවා ගොඩක් ගණන් අඩුයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඊට වඩා අනිත් traditional training institutes වලට වඩා. ඒ වගේම දැන් local training institutes තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් අපිට books video recordings audio recordings වගේ දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම on the job training දැන් අපි company එකක් එක්ක join වුණොත් අපේ තියෙන මොකක් හරි basic qualification එක එතනදී මොනවා හරි මේ products තියෙන දේවල් අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ තමයි YouTube tutorials තියෙනවා. ඒවා කොයිතරම් දුරට professional ද standards කියන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට සමහර දේවල් අපිට තේරෙන්නේ නැති දේවල් ඒකේ තියෙන සමහර videos වලින් නැති තැන අල්ලගන්න අපිට පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අතරම ඔය දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා වගේම දැන් මේවා නිකන් ඉගෙන ගත්තට වැඩක් නැහැ. අපි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් සිමියුලේෂන් tools වලින් ඒක ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට තියෙන opportunities මොනවද කියන එක තමයි කිව්වේ. මේකදී mainly කතා කරන්නේ networking වලට ගත්තාම Cisco packet tracer කියලා කියන්නේ අතරම beginner කෙනෙකුට තියෙන best tool එකක්. ඒක free tool එකක්. ඒක අරගෙන ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, I will talk about the cyber security a little bit. It's basically protecting the computer system from unauthorized access or being otherwise damaged or made inaccessible. That's the definition. And this is based on something called CIA triad, basically. It's confidentiality. It's about no unauthorized access to the information and the integrity. It's like no unauthorized alteration during the life of data. These are the definitions actually. And the availability should be available for the authorized people to access all the time. That's the main the functions of the security of the data. And the traditional and primary way is to protect the organization at the perimeter, but it's no longer needed. At the same time, virus guard on the endpoint, but with the today's security threats and more advanced, and they are very high level resources are needed to mitigate those threats. Some of them you might have heard these on news as well these days. Malware or random ransomware, command and control, and the denial of service or phishing. These are some terms that sometimes used in the cybersecurity field. And this is one important thing here. Cybersecurity jobs are growing 3 times faster than other tech jobs. This is the current trend actually. When it comes to the cybersecurity, this is like two teams, not the two teams actually, two sections that I want to highlight: offensive and defensive. The offensive security guys are aggressively trying to break into the system, and they exploit the bugs. So in simple terms, they try to see where they can sneak into the software or what are the faults in the software, and find loopholes in policies that gain access. But these teams, or the offensive security teams, are not the illegal, like just hackers. These are legal entities or the legal organizations that do this job for the contracts with organization. And so the cybersecurity specialists in this area are called certified ethical hackers. So they are certified and they are ethical hackers. They have the skills verified and the ethics certified. And then on the other hand, the defensive security, it's the they are the security guards to the thieves of the offensive security world. So in this here, they see all the ethical hackers and the real criminal hackers are the threat to the organization. And so their main job is to make the systems so that either offensive hackers or the criminal hackers cannot get into the systems or get into your organization's information. And so these people are called, sit in the company's office, designing both computer systems and networks, as well as company policies. It's one major component actually, to ensure both digital and procedural security. The same basic skill sets are needed for both offensive and defensive security carriers. On the other hand, they both collaboratively work to safeguard the enterprise's data, especially from the black hat hackers. They are the people who break the laws. If you go a little bit more into the defensive cybersecurity, they, as we discussed, they are the safeguard of your organization's security, and practically it cannot be 100% bulletproof. This is something that which I need to highlight. So in any organization, they do kind of assessment. Okay, what kind of loss are we going to have if we lost this information, and what is the value of it? And then they decide, okay, are we going to spend this much for the security just to safeguard this much of information? Kind of. And these are the components typically in offensive hacking services or the offensive security services offering. Like they do the penetration tests to sneak into your organization through the basic security measures you have in your the perimeters. They do vulnerability assessments, and this is something that they check whether you have all the listed vulnerabilities on your applications, and they check the hardening assessments as well. They check how hard your security systems are, or your systems are, and the incident response. They check how you behave in an incident or the cybersecurity incident, and they assess the government, the organization's behavior, and network and software architecture review. That is something that those professionals do as well. And the code reviews in terms of the software. For the cybersecurity certifications, that's again, these I'm just listing the available certifications for the beginners. Something like the CompShare security. It's for the vendor neutral and especially for the beginners. And system security certified practitioner. I don't think I have to go into the details. Maybe you can share this list of the certifications which are needed. But most of them needs your basic knowledge on the networking and security fields. Okay, I will go to the section for the singular. Then අපි මේකදී කතා කරන්න තියෙන cyber security කියලා දැන් ඒකදී මේ ප්‍රධාන තුනක් තමයි අතර මේ අපි information security වලදී කතා කරන්නේ. Confidentiality, integrity and availability කියලා. For confidentiality කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවා තියෙන information access කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට authorized කට්ටියට විතරයි කියන එක වෙන කාටවත් access කරන්න බෑ. Integrity කියලා කියන්නේ අපි ඒක change කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ authorized people's authorized කට්ටියට විතරයි. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒක හැම වෙලෙම available වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක වෙලාවක් තියෙනවා තව වෙලාවක access කරන්න බෑ. ඒ විදිහ තියෙන්න බෑ. ඔය තුන තමයි mainly කතා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් අනිත් එක තමයි මේ cyber security jobs කියන එක. They're growing 3 times faster than other tech jobs කියන එකත් අපි පොඩ්ඩක් ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. අනිත් එක තමයි offensive and defensive security කියන්නේ අපිට මේ වචන දෙකේ තේරුම මේක තියෙනවා ඇත්තටම. offensive කියලා කියන්නේ organization එකට එළියේ ඉඳන් try කරනවා අපි මේ safeguard කරන්න හදන අපේ system එක break කරන්න. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් defensive security කියලා කියන්නේ අපි අතුලේ ඉතින් අපි එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි ඉර කතා කරන්නේ මොන කාර්ය විදියට ඉන්න අපේ organization එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන information safeguard කරන්න. ඒතර ඔය පැති දෙක අපි ඔලුවට දාගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද අපි ඊළඟට එහෙම නැත්නම් දැන් defensive security වලදී ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේක company එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්න team එක ගොඩක් skillful එකක් නෙමෙයි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ගොඩක් ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉන්න කට්ටිය සමහරවල් networking team එකම security පැත්ත බලන වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ තව දේවල් එක්ක වැඩ කරන ගමන් මේ security බලන වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ මේ offensive hacking services කියන එක අතර මේක මේ ethical hacking එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ illegal විදියට hack කරන කට්ටිය නෙමේ. offensive hacking services දෙන companies ගොඩක් කලාවට කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ testing ඒගොල්ලෝ penetration sorry penetration test කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ test කරලා බලනවා මොන විදිහට මේ මොන තැන් වලින්ද company එකට අතුරට organization එකට අතුරට එන්නේ කියලා. ඒ වගේ vulnerability assessment hardening කියලා කියන්නේ කොච්චර strong ද ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ system එක කියන එක එක විදිහට check කරලා බලනවා. බලලා report එකක් දෙනවා. ඒ විදිහට දැන් මේ තියෙන components තමයි අත්‍තරම ඔය offensive hacking services වල include වෙන්නේ. බස් certifications ගැන කතා කරේ. මේකෙදි මේ beginner certifications ටික තමයි අත්‍තරම list down කරලා තියෙන්නේ. එකින් එකට යන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ගොඩක් මේ සයිඩ් එකේදී අපි මුලින් කතා කරා මම හිතන්නේ මේක vendor bias මේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට යන්නේ vendor neutral විදියට තමයි යන්නේ. මොකද මේගොල්ලන්ට එක vendor කෙනෙක්ගේ security assessment විතරක් නෙමෙයි කරන්නේ හැම vendor කෙනෙක්ගේම security assessment කරන්න වෙනවා. මොකද different companies වලට මේ service එක දෙන නිසා. හරි ඊට පස්සේ මම අත්‍තරම sorry. So from there, actually, I just conclude the technical discussion. And I have more general tips as well, especially for the beginners. These technologies are updating every day. So you have to dedicate yourself to gain knowledge from, I would say, sea of resources. And it's huge. Even when we, like, after 16 plus years of experience, if we go and search for what are the available resources or what are the available other options I can learn, it's huge. So I can imagine how you see as a beginner and how confused you will be if you don't have clear idea what to look for. And the other thing is international competition, especially for the tech fields. There's a huge comparison, especially from our neighboring countries. They are some part of the world, they are kind of governing lots of big companies as well. But yes, there's a huge competition. And especially when you are overseas and when you live with all those people, you know how competitive it is. And the other thing is just cut down the time for social media. That's I think I have seen, especially in the 2023 January, the guys from lots of the tech giants as well. They are saying, okay, now cut down your time for the social media because they have lots of algorithms and lots of other techniques to stick yourself with those their platforms. So just cut down, educate yourself about all those behaviors in the social media and cut down that time. Another thing is don't lose your opportunities to reach your dreams. Start maybe hard, maybe you will be low paid at the start, but just think of what you are going to do in your career. And if you get an opportunity, don't lose it just because of some other the factors. And the thing is, don't stress out yourself too much, especially in this this area. You will get stressed out some of the time. You will be doing lots of failures. Even we have done lots of wrong things and we have failed. But just learn the lesson and don't repeat it and carry on. The thing is, exposure is the key, and always stay attached to the work you do and spend more time, and it will be rewarded you one day. And especially here, there are also ways that you can expose yourself to the new trendings or the new technologies. One example is subscribe to a good tech news alert site, or there are some good YouTubers who is doing daily updates. Just subscribe to them and they will send you lots of alert. I'm not suggesting that read each and everything and get yourself freaked out, but keep your eye on. And the thing is, it's learn or figure out your way. Some people has to read, some people has to watch, some has to listen. So you have to figure out what is your way of learning and go with that. The other thing which I wanted to talk about is foreign work and living. It's overseas work expert. I believe that everyone or every professional should get at least 2 years overseas exposure or overseas experience, especially in these fields, because a lot of factors behind that. And the other thing is expatriates are making the country's branding. People who are outside the country, that depends on how good or bad they are. they are making the country's brand. So I have seen some people, especially here in Canada, in Toronto, when I say that I'm from Sri Lanka, and people are asking, is it part of India, or where is it? Where in the map Sri Lanka is? I must say that the Toronto is most it's a city where the most multinationals lives in the world. So I have met lots of different nationals, and sometimes they know that there are country called Sri Lanka. So expatriates are making the country's branding. And the other thing is, you are a product of the country. I'm talking about the education system, especially. And if that product may not have demand locally, especially because of the current situation, maybe temporary. So why don't you export that product and earn maximum out of it? When you need them back, you can get them back for sure. Especially in the tech industry, you might feel one day that you need a bigger ground to play. And when you learn more and more things and new things, you need some bigger environment to test out your knowledge. Or I would say your volume, your capacity building, and you need some bigger opportunities. One thing is, if a senior professionals migrate, there will be few positions open for the beginners, especially in the current situation. This one is kind of important these days. I know lots of people are planning or thinking of going abroad, but the best way is to migrate or to move out as a skilled worker. You have to get the education, you have to get your skills certified maybe, then you will be recognized around the world, and then yes, you have good opportunity around the world. But this is the best way. There are some other paths as well, but you have to make sure that you are in you have totally understood which path you are taking, and you know what you are doing. Other thing is, your life will be totally different in a foreign country, and before moving out, you have to do your research and talk to as much as people you know, and do your research, and then it will be a plan beforehand. With that, I would like to I would like to conclude this discussion. Actually, I have 2 more slides to elaborate a bit about my journey. I don't think it's much important. We can go for Q&A section. If I need, I can come back here and explain these ones.
Engineer Kamal, shall we go through that? Actually, it will be benefit for all the participants. Have you has gone through the journey?
Right. Yeah. So I'll go through this quickly. And I graduated from the University of Ware as a computer engineer. That was in 2005. And in my second year internship, I worked at Abacus Institute in Ukiagoda. I don't know whether that place exists anymore. I was intern hardware engineer. And then on my third year, I was an intern of the Millennium Information Technologies, MIT. Now I think it's called as LSC. That was 2004. And after that, third-year training with the MIT network team. I'm really thankful for them for giving me all these. All I would say they are the one who gave me this career, and I did my CCNA in 2005. And then in 2006, when I graduated, I joined with the Department for Computer Engineering for a few months, I would say. And then I started my first career with MIT again in 2006. That was as a regional network engineer for one of the major projects in especially I was hired for the Kandy area. But that later I was joined with the network team at MIT. And then I joined with another, I would say, startup system integration company, Enable. I was one of the team member who started this company. I know they are doing really good in Sri Lanka. And then 2014, I joined with Qatar company. Actually, that's Qatar government-based company, Malametia QSC. They were the one. Actually, I joined as a level 3 MPLS engineer, and my job was to build a MPLS network, which they were preparing for the FIFA World Cup 2022 at that time. And I was from the kind of consulting company with the government side, and there were other SI companies in Qatar that they were implementing the network. But I was supposed to be a L3 engineer in the government operations center. Yeah. And then I moved to Canada again in 2014, and joined the company called Access to Networks, and they were they're doing lots of security implementations, and they have the security operations center as well. I was joined as a security operations center analyst there. And then I was able to join the City of Toronto, that's the government organization, the Toronto Water Division. So as a network and security engineer, and then after a few years, I was promoted to the project manager section in the same division. This is how my career grew up. So what I wanted to highlight is that some of the opportunities I got through my connections, especially when I'm joining with Access to Network. One of my good friends in MIT helped me to join with this company. And when I joined with MIT, or when I joined with MIT as an intern, one of my not actually friend, one of who I know very well in my village helped me a lot. And other than those two incidents, when I was joining with, well, actually when I'm joining with Enable as well, it's through my connections. But when I joined with the Malametia, the Qatar company, it was through the online application, and then sorry, and through a regular interview without any connections. And when I joined the City of Toronto as well, I have to go with 4-hour technical test, and there was no connections. So I would say when we are looking for the opportunities, yes, your networking, your connections are very important. At the same time, your skills, you should be able to show your skills as well, not because of the certifications. Okay. Sanjay, that's it for me. We can go for question and answers if we have any.
Thanks a lot, Engineer Kamal. Actually, we really thank you because from a long distance from our country and willing to help our young engineers, especially who are willing to learn this subject. And I believe this is a vast subject which is very difficult to narrate within very such kind of time period. But still, I believe it is very much beneficial for all the audience. And we have very limited time, so I would like to give only one question as the Q&A. And meantime, we will share the attendance marking sheet on chat box, YouTube, and also in YouTube and also in Zoom platform, so that you can mark your attendance, all the participants today. And I would like to give the opportunity to S. Kokula Raman, who was waiting for a long time, and please ask your question.
Yeah, I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can
Yes,
hear me.
very.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Engineer Kamal, for your valuable presentation. Actually, basically, I am not a very young engineer, but I am now in a senior management level engineer, but I am a civil engineer. But ultimately, now I have to involve with this electronic government procurements that now the Treasury is developing something like that one. And sometimes we have to hear, actually, then only I realized we should have at least somewhat basic knowledge in the IT. Now, when they are talking, when we are talking to the IT person, they are telling about this SSL, secure socket layers, and the PKI.
Right.
Whether I can get somewhat basic idea how these things works and
Yes, it's within I don't think we can sorry we can explain that in few minutes.
Yes, that is what
Yes,
I also think.
Kokul Raman,
Yes.
what we do is, if that your question, I think it's clear to Engineer Kamal, and we will share some documents that you can access and just get a basic idea what you want to know. So that will be helpful, I believe.
Yeah, the only thing which I can say is, especially in the government section, the PKI is kind of the beginning. So you must have at least some kind of level of understanding, and it is kind of must. Like for an example, like in this part of the world, we are not allowed to, like, it's for an example for any website. If you see HTTPS, then it considered as a secured website, and if it is just HTTP, then it is just plain website, and it is not considered a secure website, especially in our the government environments, government IT environments here. We are not allowing any HTTP websites to be open locally or access outside. So
Yeah, I
it is
believe
something that
it has given some kind of idea, and we will let you know, Kokul Raman, if we can share more details. So I believe with the time we have, it's time to conclude session. And before conclusion, I would like to thank Engineer Kamal once again for his dedication and preparation for this presentation from last few days, and also joining us from very long distance, North America, and also sharing his knowledge and sharing experiences. So I believe all the participants today got very good knowledge out of this session, and believe we can have Engineer Kamal in future also when it is we are having such kind of Zoom sessions. And also I would like to ask Engineer Kamal if you have anything to say these young engineers, developing engineers who are seeking for opportunities? What is the advice, or what is the point that you can give to be a successor?
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. And yeah, I think as a final note, what I can say is that this is very fast changing area, and technologies are changing every day. And dedicate yourself to get most of it. You may not be able to catch all the changes which are happening every day, and you may not be able to um, uh, get all those things, but especially find area that where you can continue with your career and stay up to date. That's the key thing, actually.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I believe that your journey we witnessed very few minutes ago, it was not in one night. It's all about the commitment, dedication, and effort you put. So I believe that's a great example for our young engineers, especially, and also who are trying to get opportunities in other countries and try to migrate. So that's a very good sort of example. And I believe Engineer Kamal Premaratna is a great example for everyone. So let's give our heartful thank to Engineer Kamal once again joining this session and serving us with his knowledge. So with that remark, ladies and gents, hope you have marked the attendance. And this is the end of 6th session of IT BPO workshop series, and hope to see you again in next week in our 7th session. So once again, thank you very much for being a great participants throughout the session, and let's wind up the session and meet in the next session. Good night to everyone. Thank you, Engineer Kamal, once again.
Right. Thank you. Thanks.